Want to say if, but for this afternoon, we can promise you a fun afternoon filled with really good insights. If you have questions, there is a Q&A button or a chat button, so you can type in everything, and then we will have a few minutes after the full webinar to address.
Okay, yeah. I guess we should start.
Yeah, let's start. Okay. So hi, hello. I'll just run by you the house rules. Can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah. Okay. So you guys are in listen only mode. You can hear us, but we can't hear you. But don't worry, we will try to make it as interactive as possible. As I mentioned, there is a chat button or a Q&A button that we will be addressing after the whole thing. So please don't be shy, ask anything. You can ask Rhea or me. You can message me privately or something like that. And please don't be shy. We are also working from home. So if you hear our background, I'm actually pretty lucky because we live very near my mom's office, so I'm here. But for Rhea, I think it might get a bit noisy, so please bear with us. If the internet gets disconnected, we will be sending you a copy of the presentation after that. So we're recording this. We'll send you the copy of the presentation and the slides as well. So don't worry if you get disconnected. And then please share all over social media. We want to wrap this up. We want to be releasing more webinars. So please use the hashtags Build Rapport with your candidates online and Talk Push It Real Good. And the most important rule is for you guys to enjoy. So for this afternoon, we have Rhea. Next slide, please. Rhea is our business manager. I know for most of the clients that are here, you know her as your former CSM. Now she's our business manager in APAC, and I will let her introduce herself.
Right. Hi, everyone. Yeah, so my name is Rhea Ibanez. I'm currently a business manager in TalkPush. So if you see me drifting away in the background, that's not Thanos. It's just my virtual background in Zoom. But yeah, so I'm currently I'm business manager. And for the past 3 years, I've helped clients augment or automate the recruitment process. So a lot of the audience here I'm seeing, I've already worked with you before. And, you know, with the rise of the internet, creating the job recruitment landscape evolve, and that's my role here in TalkPush to make sure you guys are equipped with the market needs. All right, so enough about me. Let's now go to the presentation. So if you see here, welcome to the new age. So it's actually a song. So welcome to the new age. Recruitment requires understanding on what each individual candidate wants out of life. It's not just the job. The effects of the quarantine is finally kicking in after a month, more than a month actually. And recruitment during COVID-19 is not the same as before. There are plenty of restrictions, on movements and physical interactions with our colleagues and also our candidates. And not all companies have adjusted to this. A lot of the companies are scrambling. And here in TalkPush, we're actually pretty lucky because remote work has already been a norm for us. It's normal for us to do remote work. But, you know, I'm here in this webinar. We're going to help you adapt to that. And yeah, well, there's an inside joke in our company, like if you are working from home before, it's already a luxury that you're provided, or a privilege that you're working from home, but now it's already a privilege that Blanche is working in an office with good internet connection. Yeah. Okay. All right. Here, this slide, this is pretty interesting because as you see, we have here Isaac Newton with the long hair. It doesn't look like him, but he's sitting down neat an apple tree, and then an apple fell down on his head, and that's when his eureka moment came up. So just to share, in the in the 1300s, there was we call it the bubonic plague, or the Black Plague, wherein a lot of people, actually 3/4 of the population in Europe died because of this plague. So it's the same scenario. A lot of people were quarantined. For University of Cambridge, where Isaac Newton was teaching, was closed for 2 years. And during those times that he wasn't working and only at home, he studied on the things that he has a lot of questions with, because during that time they only believed in Aristotle. And because of that 2 years quarantine, Isaac Newton came about the laws of motion, the optic theory, and also the hardest math that we have, which is calculus. So that happened. And my question now, do you think you can become the new Isaac Newton of recruitment? If you think you are, you can raise your hands. That's also my challenge to you. Can you be the next Isaac Newton of recruitment? Yeah, you can raise your hands there. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of raised hands. Yeah, we can be. So this is the best time. We should turn this crisis into a positive one. Okay. All right, so today we are going to be talking about virtual interviewing, how to build rapport with your candidates online. And at the end of the webinar, you will learn the following. One, the importance of candidate experience in this new age. Two, what tools can you use to leverage with the market? Three, what are the essentials in virtual recruiting? And lastly, what are we expecting as a recruiter during virtual interviews, and what are the expectations of our candidates as well? So I encourage everyone to ask questions. You can type it in the QA box or in the chat box, and at the end of the webinar, I will answer all of your questions to the best of my capabilities. All right. Now let's go first. What are virtual interviews? So from the word virtual, the etymology, I'm just kidding. I'm not your professor. But yeah, so virtual interviews is basically conducted using technology such as cell phones, computers, or applications, which is not the normal face-to-face interviews. So that's how we are defining virtual interview in this process. And what are the difference, or what's virtual interview, the difference between virtual interviews and the other types of interviews? So this is funny. This GIF that you're seeing right now, I'm sure she's pretty popular with you, but until now it makes me laugh. So this is Janina San Miguel. She joined Binibining Pilipinas, and she got rattled during the Q&A, and then she said, my family, and she got scared and insecure during that time, but she's still confident because she has to do that. But yeah, during face-to-face interviews, the difference is candidates, a lot of candidates gets intimidated or scared of the interviewer, because I'm not confident in speaking in English or confident in talking to a person, so they get intimidated on face-to-face interviews. Also in face-to-face interviews, as a recruiter, us recruiters, we have a clear sense of each candidate's abilities to speak extemporaneously about their job and all the questions that we're asking. Also, lastly, in face-to-face interviews, you as a recruiter will be able to assess if the candidate really prepared for what you're going to ask them, and questions relating to your company and the job role that they're applying for. However, in virtual interviews, our notation mostly would be, well, I can't see their facial reactions, I can't see their nonverbal cues, they cannot their appearance is not a high priority because I cannot see them, because mostly I'll be over the phone, or maybe they're using a filter on their background if it's a video interviews. And aside from that, as recruiters, we get easily distracted when there are notifications in the background. And especially if your mom is cooking real good food, and then you get like, you get distracted by that during the interview process. So yeah, that's what's the difference between both. But now we're gonna change that notion, and let me help you on the end of this webinar to show you how it works. Okay. All right. So how are candidates responding now? During the ECQ since March 15 in the Philippines. So this data came from our clients' current database, and we see that 33% of the candidates are completing the interview within the first 5 minutes. So it means that when they click on the apply button, they complete the entire process. And that's actually two times more than those candidates prior to ECQ. So here it says 16%, here it's 33%. And you see, we've lowered around 50% of all the candidates that are completing more than 60 minutes. So it means to say candidates has more time, candidates are responding as fast as they can on right now during the ECQ period. We also have to note that the virtual process saves a lot of time for them and money when everything goes back to normal. If they're kind of used to with the virtual processing, do you think it would be the same trend? Like, are they gonna be um, expecting to do phone calls instead, or what do you think? Think about it. You can give me a thumbs up or thumbs down on your thoughts on this. Yeah, personally, I feel that, well, it's happening. It's happening all the time. Like whenever there's a new trend, people tend to adapt to it. So what I feel about this, that this is the new normal. This is what the candidate pool or the market will be. So we have to adapt to that. Okay. Remember, if you have any questions, feel free to type in your questions. Okay. So it has to start with the first touch. Even before candidates are enticed or seeing your ads or enticed to apply for the job, it's very important that we show them our brand, our company brand is, what we're standing for. That's pretty much what the candidates is looking for. To attract your future workforce, you need to embrace the pace and the needs of your candidates. So in today's fast-paced, snap, tweet, TikTok world, communication is the key, and it's very important. So how do we communicate? Your ads, the way that your brand is showing through your ad reflects on what the company is about. You have to build rapport using the ads. So these are just sample of ads that we put. So this is for Facebook. It has a call to action. Same on our LinkedIn ads. There's a call to action to get their application starting. And we have to focus on that call to action, tell them what we're looking for, be direct, and of course, make sure that your ads are, in this slide that I'm showing, your ads should show what they are expecting, what are the job specifications, to eliminate that back and forth questioning. Because we saw also, since the ECQ started, there are a lot of FAQs being asked about how the company is responding to COVID, what are the qualifications. Well, as we know, a lot of our candidates are not really reading the ads, but recently, due to the ECQ, since they have more time, they tend to ask a lot of questions about it, and they also read the ads. So I would usually see on our clients general inquiry campaigns that says that I saw in your ad that you're looking for blah 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 blah. Do you provide a headset or a computer? Those are the usual questions of our candidates. And yeah, so what do we need? For some of you, who amongst you have a different team for recruitment marketing and a different team for those who are candidate facing or phone screening team probably, or recruiters? So but a lot of our clients would have a separate team doing this. So this is high time for us to reevaluate our ads, how we brand ourselves outside, how we post the ads. It should show like step-by-step process. What are they expecting? The benefits of the company, and it should show all the pertinent information that they need to click on the apply button, because right now our candidates are demanding as ever. So if you want your company to stand out to the standouts, keep them engaged and informed at all times, meaning to say, engage them to a fast and fun process. So you can use the chatbot technology for our clients who's in the call. We have to make sure that the bot is, well, of course, we make sure that the bot is working, but the chatbot technology really helps out. If you don't have one, you can use web forms such as Google Forms or Microsoft Forms for you to capture the personal identifiable information, all the qualification questions that you need to make the recruitment process seamless for the candidates, because they want information right away. Yeah, so if you see, this is a sample of the bot, and you can do video interviews if you need to gauge the communication skills. And as shown earlier, 33% of the candidates are responding right away within the first 5 minutes. Okay, so even before the crisis, using technology for recruitment is on the rise. That's the reason why TalkPush is here. HR professionals have reported that using video interviews is a necessity nowadays, and they're looking for technology solutions and on these efforts to gather candidates. Do you think why is that? Why is that happening? All right. So as we show here, what we're showing right now is a research made by yellow.com, YELLO.com. And since we know that Gen Z is entering the workforce, 54% or 68%, 54% of the Gen Z won't apply if their recruiting methods are outdated. And if we see like why, if does lack of technology deter you from accepting a job in the company, we see a lot that around 26% of the Gen Z wants a company that is high tech. And another thing we also have to note that time spent of candidates waiting is equivalent to the lost opportunity for good talent. They might be signing up on another company who's faster recruitment process. And yeah, make sure that we respond to your candidates right away. So if you want your company to stand out, let them know what you stand for and how they will be treated before they start. If you lose touch, they will also lose touch. And the rock stars that you are already receiving paycheck from a different company, which should have been yours. Your clients or candidates has to trust your brand and feel like you want them. So how do we do that? You have to communicate as fast as we can, share them as much information as they need. And the best companies to work for strengthen their employees with information through open communication. That's one of the studies that had been done. And if you want to survive, as a company, if you want to survive, of course, you need to have the best people, the best talent. And having the best people requires you to keep them engaged and in the loop every step of the way. This is the information age, and survival of the fittest starts with exactly that, information. Okay, so when I mention about information, we have to create compelling messages. So a lot of our clients who's here, but I think it would be beneficial for you. So they put in GIFs, they send GIFs. So with the TalkPush CRM, you can send GIFs, photos, videos to your clients and communicate with them. You can, with a chatbot technology, it's faster to get the information. And of course, it can relate to their current, we have the Japanese bot here. It can relate to their language settings. So yeah, we have to make sure that we get our point across. So if you log in, for most of our clients now, we have the COVID statement. What is the team doing in response to COVID? We have to put that messages in. If you will be asking candidates to complete an interview, make sure that you tell them what's the next step after this, how long will it take. You have to make them realize that. So ask your recruitment or branding team or marketing team on how we can gamify or make our messages compelling enough for our candidates to understand. Well, it saddened me, like, to know, ever since the ECQ started, and I know a lot of you have experienced it, because we are confined inside our houses. There's a lot of issues ongoing, social media posts, rants that's happening. A lot of our candidates now have trust issues. They've even created Facebook groups just to post rant, and then they rank down companies who are failing to give them what they wanted. So that's the reason why we need to communicate to them, post in our page the importance of and how we value our candidates, how we are doing, and why are we doing this in during this time of the crisis. You have to over communicate that. So I would usually see a lot of candidates posting in social media saying that, well, because my expectations wasn't ready, or when the company is not ready for the work from home setup, and things are not going my way, so I just post everything online. And right now the candidate pool are looking for companies that will start ASAP and can provide them the technology that they can use, such as laptops or internet connections. Let them know that, okay, we'll provide it to you, or if not right now, if do you have this technology like a computer, a laptop, internet, and if yes, then we will hire you to that point. Also, we have to take note that a lot of our candidates lost their jobs or were laid off because of this crisis. So a lot of them are looking for stability. And if we tell them and post in our page and our ads that the company is stable despite the crisis, we will definitely get a lot of candidates, good candidates in our company. Okay. Now, we now move to the second touch. So after we've already discussed about the pre-screening, the moment that the candidate, or getting the buy-in of the candidate to apply for the job, clicking merely clicking the apply button is already very hard this time. So once we get that, it's important for us to take note that the next steps of the process is also vital. The second touch would be the pre-screening process. So earlier I mentioned about Google Forms and the chatbot. So for our current client base, the pre-screening process is already done through the chatbot. But if not, I would suggest you do the forms. Now, why do we need that our candidates would have good experience? So this study came from the toggle.com, and this is actually prior to the ECQ. 45% of the candidates' decision to get that signed job offer impacts their experience during the recruitment process. And if it's taking a long time for them, chances are they won't sign, because I think that this company is too slow. When I get hired, I think they will also be slow. So we have to strengthen this. We have to make sure that we're responding to them right away. And our candidates wouldn't understand right now that it takes a lot of time, because they would say, oh, everybody's working from home, there's no commute, there's no traffic. So I think they should be able to respond to my questions. So communicate that to them. Another thing, establish a workflow. So just sharing with you a workflow on the entire, well, this is just a sample, work from home process. So if you're already a customer, of course, you know that all the sourcing channels can be directly linked to TalkPush, so there's no delay right away when they click the apply button. They get to interact, and you get to capture them. You already know the source and what job they're applying for, so it saves a lot of time on the recruiters and to know. And then after that, you process the candidate, you provide them information if they shortlist or if they failed, or on the next step of the process. And we integrate with your ATSs. So for some of you who doesn't have their ATS yet linked, I would suggest you contact your CSM or your boss to, definitely we are an omni-channel. We can integrate with any ATS to make the process seamless. So any changes in the ATS can also translate or be informed to us in the TalkPush tool. And candidates get that information right away, and we need that. They need that information. Okay, aside from that, once you already get their buy-in, they already applied for the job, we've already screened them. Okay, this candidate is fit for our company, and I would like to proceed with the application. So prior to that, we have to schedule. So remote process right now, us recruiters, we tend to forget about the time, or sometimes we are unable to eat, or sometimes we slack off. What's important is to schedule the interviews, because we cannot have like two candidates at the same time. So I just want to share with you, in my previous job prior to TalkPush, I was also doing phone screening. And well, it didn't seem unfair to me, but when I was doing phone screening, I had to handle 40 candidates, and it's twice the number of candidates from those recruiters handling on site, those who come on site. I didn't find it unfair, but I find it easier for me because since I'm only on the phone, if they don't answer, I move to the next candidate. But I tend to forget like my other admin stuff because I get engrossed to it. With the TalkPush scheduler, so you as a recruiter, you can link your own calendar, and you can set up a time, like is it 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or 1 hour? And a candidate can book the schedule. It will block your calendar. You will get a reminder that the scheduled interview is on this time, on this date for this candidate, and you'll be able to see the profile of the candidate prior to the interview. And aside from that, the candidate will also get a reminder a day before and on the day itself. So it eliminates the manual texting that we're doing to follow up on their interviews. So I would suggest that you utilize the scheduler. This is very much important. For those who doesn't have TalkPush yet, for our clients who doesn't have TalkPush, I would suggest that you link your own Google Calendar or Microsoft Teams calendar and share it. There are several webs like calendly.com wherein they can book the schedule, and you can and it will integrate directly in your calendar. So you can do that. Okay. So empower your candidates with information. Earlier, I mentioned that time spent on waiting is equals to loss of good talent pool. So a day or two before the scheduled interview, we should set the expectation like a simple guide. But on the TalkPush scheduler, you can already edit it on your account. So as a recruiter, you can edit the messaging. If they want to reach you on your mobile phone, you can put your mobile phone number there. If you want them to wait for the call or send you a message, etc., you can tell them and put them a simple guide like, okay, we will be doing the initial phone screening, initial interview over online, set expectations. So if they need to wear headphones, if they need to be in a quiet environment, and if they also have to be, what are they gonna wear, or etc. You set that expectations. Well, is there a certain video chat app? Well, we can use Zoom or Skype, but I would suggest that will eliminate that. In TalkPush, you can call candidates directly from the tool and call them. or you can just ask them to you'll call them in their phones. But if you need them to reach out to you via Zoom, you can tell them and set the expectations on what they will be doing. And of course, silence on your notifications. um, and yeah, that's important. Yeah, as a recruiter, you have to outline everything ahead of time. It's because it's not only you who's nervous, but also the candidates. And also, I want to share a story. Well, in TalkPush, we have this a few years ago. Um, we have this sourcing capability wherein we call candidates, invite them to come on site, like the RPO model, but we've already eliminated that. And then one of our interns that time, who's a German, was doing call outs for the Philippines. And it was funny because when candidates were answering the phone, and since they heard like, oh, English speaking American guy talking over the phone, and they would say, oh, hello, hello, sorry, cannot hear you, goodbye. And then he was saying, why aren't they answering the phone? Is there something wrong with my audio? Why are they not answering? I think mainly the reason why they're not answering, I was actually laughing at it, and I told them, because you sound too American, they get intimidated, and they're Englishing, their nose are already bleeding because of the English that you said, like with the word hello. That was really funny. But yeah, as a recruiter, during virtual interviews, we have to sound pleasant. We have to sound accommodating. It's already intimidating enough when they're doing face-to-face interviews, but virtually, how we sound would also reflect the company's brand. Yes, that was so funny. I see a lot of comments. Yeah, you're correct. Okay, right. And there. And then the third touch. So the third touch, this is now the virtual interview, the apple on the pie, I mean the cream on the pie. And yeah, Blanche is right. If you have any stories, feel free to share it with us. We're gonna laugh about it later. Okay. So number one, prepare first for your virtual first impression. Um, you have to have good lighting. So I have good lighting here. I'm gonna show you my lamp. So I have a lamp here just so that I wouldn't look like a vampire or someone scary in the background, or that the shadow is already taking me. So you can use a lamp. Well, we've already discussed this on our previous webinar, but we'll just scroll over it. So we have to prepare. Make sure your background is good. Well, I actually put in like, well, if without my virtual background, I have like curtains on my back, just to make sure that I look accommodating, and also like it represents the brand of the company. So you have to do that. Sound pleasant, and yeah, that's what you have to do. And on the candidate end, tell them and explain to them also what they're gonna expect during the interview. Okay, now we'll go to the main event. So during the interview, conducting the virtual interview. Um, well, I don't know. When I was a recruiter, and I've been doing calls, like phone calls, for 40 candidates every day. And most of the time, I really don't understand this. Most of the time, when I call them, they would say, Mom, sorry, Mom, I cannot understand you, Mom. Can you call me back, Mom? Mom, sir. Something like that. And, or, you're chubby, Mom, chubby. No, who's chubby? Just kidding. But yeah, it would happen. Like they wouldn't understand you, or you have to call them back, or they would hang up. So even so that it's very irritating, and you think that it's wasting a lot of your time, we still have to be very professional. Fake it till you make it. um, and we have to sound personable over the phone, and we also have to understand that there's a lot of restrictions right now. Our data is actually restricted nowadays, especially with everyone in Netflix and doing TikToks and all. So if you're doing video interviews, we have to understand that. If you're doing phone interviews, there are a lot of candidates who doesn't have good reception that they have to put their hand out of the window or go outside on the street just to get good reception. Actually, I have the same scenario here in my home. My globe line, I have intermittent signal, so I have to go out of the house just to be able to get that phone call. So it's very frustrating on the candidate's end and on you. So be very professional despite all of this, and be understandable, because yeah, it's hard. And yeah, be upfront and honest as possible. Our candidates wants information right away. Tell them what they're gonna expect. So if they fail, you're gonna tell them if they failed. If they're passed, you're gonna tell them the next step of the process. Also, this is a good note. Always ask the best contact number if you get disconnected. If you and tell them also if the calls is recorded, because in TalkPush you can do call recording. Tell them also that the calls is recorded, and that if we get disconnected, what's the best contact number? You can reach me in this number if ever you are unable to, if I'm unable to reach you, and tell me the best time. Tell them how long the interview would be. Just give them the correct setting of expectations. I know you already know this because we already have that script, right? So when I was new in recruitment, I always put like setting of expectation 1, 2, 3. But best contact number is important. We need that because we'll definitely get a lot of disconnects. Okay. All right. So pro tip. Okay. Well, actually, we're about to end. We still have about 20 minutes, but I'll just give you a pro tip. So just to give you a story, when I was in recruitment, well, actually, even before ECQ or during ECQ, it's very hard for us to send data or share to your colleagues if the candidate passed or not, especially if our team doesn't have enough technology. They don't have computers, or they're just using their phones. We're only sending emails on the status of applications. And for our clients who doesn't, who has stock push, the hardest part is the hiring manager. There's no problem when it comes to recruitment, but when operations comes in and they interview the candidate, we give them a pool of candidates to call. Oh, these are the candidates endorsed to you, but it takes time for you to get that feedback. And it frustrates you because you are bombarded as a recruiter. Like, what's the status of my application, ma'am, sir? That's what you'd usually get. But yeah, so just a pro tip for our TalkPush users here, we have the share profile icon. So in the candidate profile in TalkPush, let me just share one. I'll just open up my TalkPush account. So there's an option to share profile, even if they don't have TalkPush access. Our hiring managers can provide real-time updates on the status of the application. So wait a second, I'm gonna be sharing my screen. Okay, I'm just loading. Okay, so on my screen, you see here, this is the TalkPush platform. You can talk to the candidates right away. So in terms of sourcing and talent acquisition, when you have TalkPush, it's pretty easy to know the status, because you would see here the comments made and what's the status, and if they have previous application. But the problem right now would be the hiring managers. So you can use the share profile. So just click on share profile here. And input the hiring manager's email address. Even if they don't have TalkPush, they will still get the candidate. And of course, we don't want them doing, whatchamacallit, see the comments of others, so that their information won't be biased. So for BPOs, that happens on when you endorse to another account. So you can eliminate that. You can just show them the contact details and the picture. And if you don't want to see them the answers, that's okay. You can untick that and then share it. You can share one candidate at a time, or you can do mass action. I want to share all this 1,000 candidates. I want to pressure this hiring manager. She will need to call a lot of our candidates. So you can do the mass action, click on the share profile, put in the email, untick what the information you don't want them to see, and share it. They will get an email, and they can put in the comments. So I'll show you the sample of the share profile. We call it the reviewer's access. If you need to know more about it and get a training about it, please ask your CSM. Okay. On the reviewers access, they can put in direct comments. I think I can't share, but they can put in direct comments, which will populate here right away. It will show who made the comment in the CRM. And yeah, Blanche will be sharing the share profile. I'll stop sharing my screen, Blanche. You're gonna share it. Yeah, can you do that, Blanche? Use the reviewer profile. Okay. Yeah, I'll just show you a sample of my profile. Wait a second. Just give me a minute here. This is interesting. Actually, okay, here we go. Okay, so as a recruiter, when you see my fur quote there. So as a recruiter or a hiring manager, I can input notes. I can see the recording. If any data that you would like to share, failed using fur quote. Any comments that they do, it will automatically post here, and they can like shortlist or reject, and they can have the option to send the message to the candidate right away. In this way, if we do this, we have faster sharing of information to our candidates. So that's just a pro tip. And yeah, okay. And also, I would like to leave this to you. Good candidate experience doesn't end after they're hired or rejected. We have to note that our pool is almost the same candidates, especially in the BPO. They just move from one company to another. For our pool, well, for big brands like McDonald's or Jollibee or probably SM, a lot of candidates would like to apply again. But if they had bad experience, they would definitely not reapply. So we can re-engage with them using talk push or re-engage with this candidate. So even after we reject them, we have to show our brand, communicate with them like, okay, candidate, you can still reapply. I'm sorry right now. We cannot accept you, but you can reapply in the future. And also even on our hired candidates, because our struggle also would be the day one when they start. Are they gonna show up on the day one? Because it doesn't stop there. Even if they've signed the job offer, it's still our role in recruitment to make sure that they show up on their day one, so we wouldn't be losing the candidates. And yep. Okay, and finally, let's get ready. I hope you've learned a lot in this webinar. Just to recap what I did, I've already shared with you the candidate experience, the moment that they see your job and they click the apply now button, what is the experience? We've covered that. We've also covered on our call the tools that you can leverage in the market, like you can use chatbot technology, you can use Google Forms, Microsoft Forms to contact your candidate. You can use like Zoom or other media, Facebook Messenger perhaps, to reach out to your candidates. What are the essentials? What do we need? Of course, aside from food, in virtual recruiting, what we need would be like good ads, providing candidates all the information, and what are the expectations during and before, during the virtual interviews, what are the expectations of the recruiter and of the candidate. So I guess I was able to impart this to you. And now I'm leaving you with this song. into the unknown. Wow, singer. So now everyone is going virtual. Um, After the ECQ, who is ready to jump to the unknown? Can you comment or raise your hands? Who's ready to jump to the unknown? Do you think I was able to help you be ready to the unknown after this ECQ? What's the reservations? I see that someone said I have reservations. What reservations are you pertaining to?
No, I mean, because the unknown, it's scary, but it's something that we kind of have to deal with, right? Because it's the new normal.
Right, I agree. I agree on that. But we have to adopt. That's what we are. Like Charles Darwin said, the theory of adaptation. That's humans can easily adapt.
Yeah.
Let me just go to the questions.
Yeah. So we'll spend the next 11 minutes answering questions. So we have a couple of questions there. If you can look at the Q&A tab, Rhea. But if you want to ask more, just feel free to ask anytime.
Yes.
If you run out of time, you can email us, or you can reach out to any one of us on LinkedIn or on email. Okay.
Yeah. So here it says, can you help us run our social media ads? Okay. We can help you or train you how to run, but we're not a social media marketing or digital company, so we can't run ads for you, but we can help you in running ads. You can talk to your CSM or send me a message in LinkedIn. By the way, it's Rhea Pitts. And you can follow me in Instagram and Facebook. You can send me a message. I'll accommodate you and how you can improve on your social media ads. Facebook, Instagram.
It's actually nice that someone asked. That's one of the webinars that we will be releasing in the next few weeks. How to run social media ads. We will be inviting guest speakers for that, experts on recruitment marketing. So stay tuned. You guys are invited.
Yeah, that's exciting. Another question here: how can we communicate our tech stack to our candidates? Won't it scare them? That's a pretty good question. Actually, prior to ECQ, it scares them. Like, what am I gonna do, or what else? But during this time that we're in quarantine, it makes everyone wonder, like, what's next? What will happen? I see that this is happening. So my current role as um, I have to step up on the tech stack. Yeah. So I think it won't scare them, but when we communicate it to them, you have to update for our clients, update your bot, and because they will be asking a lot of questions about it. So you can reach out to your CSM to update that. Also, if you don't have one, you can post an ad or pin it to your page and tell them how you guys are, your technology right now and what you're doing to adapt to the current trends. Yeah, but I don't think it would scare them. What do you think, Blanche? Do you think it would scare them?
Well, I think tech is scary, but I agree with you. It's really communication. That's the key. As long as you're transparent, you provide details, you give them all the information that they need, they won't be as scared.
Right, I agree also. Okay, next, any best practices on what types of messages sound compelling to candidates? Good question. For example, when a candidate completes the pre-screening process, there should be like a messaging that will say, thank you for completing our pre-screening process. Just to let you know, this is just the initial part. We will review your application and inform you of the status right away. So that's one. Also, when we chase them to complete the pre-screening. So when we do the virtual process, we have clients that do end-to-end, not really end-to-end, but they've integrated their language assessment exam like Aspiring Minds and Higher IQ with Talk Push. So what we suggest them to put is, this is important, an important step in the recruitment process. You have to complete this It will expire within this certain time period, and it only takes 30 minutes. Please spend your time on that. So you have to emphasize the importance of that step in the recruitment process. What else? The COVID situation, like right now, our workforce, we're on a skeletal workforce, telling you that um, we know that you applied, we understand, but it just takes a lot of time because our team, we're on a skeletal workforce right now, as mandated by the government. So just tell them, be honest to them. Yeah. Okay, next. Have you seen that show ups are higher now during virtual interviewing setup versus before the candidates need to go to the office or the recruitment center? Actually, yes. Because I mentioned earlier about the trust issues of the candidates. So right now, candidates are more engaged. They're very responsive because they're just at home. They're worried about what food are they gonna put in the table if there's no ayuda, or the DSWD is not gonna give them that 6,500 pesos. So a lot of them are really thinking like um, that I have to attend this interview because I have to have a job. So it's important for you to tell them like how long the process is gonna be. It usually take 2 to 3 days for you to get hired, something to that point. Yeah, I hope I answered your question. Next question. Do you think candidates are less engaged and have lower commitment to employers during this time of ECQ compared to before? Mm, Personally, they're more engaged. As we see the status that I showed you earlier in Talk Push, a lot of candidates are completing the interview. It actually went 2 times. So I think they are engaged. I think the problem would be once they get hired and you send them their computer or their PC, they're gonna go AWOL. No, just kidding. That's a meme, but I think that's the one. That's the commitment on staying with the company. But in terms of the recruitment process, I think they would go for it during this period. Um, but staying in the company, that's a question I don't know yet. Okay. Don't know the answer yet. Okay, next question. How should we handle upset candidates because they were rejected by the process? So it's funny because sometimes the bot in TalkPush, like they would respond, like they would rant, and then the bot would say, "Oh, sorry, I did not understand your question." Well, just kidding. But of course, we have to. Well, this is one thing I learned when I was doing customer call outs in the BPO. I was in the BPO industry for 7 years. So you have to acknowledge, yeah, we understand that, and repeat what they're saying. We understand that it's being rejected feels frustrating. Um, if I was in your shoes, it sounds repetitive, but if I was in your shoes, I would feel the same way. However, we see that you may be fit on one of our available jobs in the future. So right now, it's a no, but we'll definitely reach back once once we see you're fit for another role. Something to that point. And you also give them like suggestions, like, I know that you're frustrated right now, but I think you can improve on this 1, 2, 3. I know you guys already know that, but yeah, it's also important to tell them because it's right now the brand and how we talk to the candidates is vital because everyone can just do Rafi Tulfo and put you on social media. There's even like a Facebook group of rants on companies, so we have to be aware of that all the time. Yeah. Any other questions? We still have 3 minutes left.
Anything else, guys?
Yeah, I see that people are saying that they have experienced that too, and they're laughing about my jokes earlier, but that's true. Let me know if something you would like to.
Anything else going once?
Yeah, I guess there's none. There's no more questions. But Anyone here ready for the unknown? Are you ready? We have to be
We will
ready.
try. We will do our best so that we can be ready.
Right. Okay.
We want to help you guys so that everyone can be ready. It's the unknown. It's quite scary, but as much as we can, we want to give you insights and a few thoughts on this. And if you guys have anything to add, share with anyone, please feel free to reach out to anyone. And
Yeah.
yeah,
You can look at for me in LinkedIn, Rhea Pitts, also in Facebook, Rhea Pitts, and Instagram, Rhea Pitts.
yeah. So
We'll go.
thank you guys for coming.
Right.
Before we go, I'll just promote with you because on May 6th, we have the Digital Recruitment Hacks event. It's one of our bigger events in Toppush. We host it every couple of months or so, but since it's a digital world, so we're doing it online. It's a big event. We will be inviting guest speakers, experts, HR leaders from the industry, and you guys, everyone is invited to that. So please come. Wait for the invites. It'll come out probably next week, and we hope to see you there. Thank you,
It's
everyone.
thank you,
For the time.
Blanche. Thank you, guys. Send me a message. Have a good day.
Have a
Bye.
good day, guys. Bye. Thank you.